Amupanda, if I can continue at paragraph 7.1 of our plea, it continues.
Page.
The same page where we were.
We were 15 on pleading.
Yes, I'm going back to the plea now. At page 36 it was. Not that small bundle, but the plea bundle.
I have it.
So I'll continue what we said, and we said that by virtue of the Animal Diseases and Parasites Ordinance of 1959, and subsequently the Animal Diseases and Parasites Act 13 of 65 and the Animal Health Act of 2011, the veterinary cordon fence was erected during 1958 to 1961.
It was not factual. It is not factually correct.
When was the fence which you refer to erected?
I explained to you that they started building it in November 1896 and they completed in February 1897.
Okay, so you're not referring to the fences which were erected under South African government since 1921.
If you were listening to what I was explaining, is that immediately after the red line was erected and it exists, different purposes were assigned to that existing fence. Yeah? For instance, if we are together, for instance, for different purposes, there was, immediately when South African government took over, in 1916, you will find again, even in this text, you will find again that they were, at one point, of course, maybe so that it can be helpful to you, that the fence that was erected in 1896 would not necessarily be 1,250.
Yes.
You would, for instance, discover that during the South African colonial government, they declare this national reserve and national parks, yeah, which then also, when you look at the boundaries, Etosha National Park and things like that, then it serves that particular purpose. Over time, that's what I'm saying, over time, different purposes were, in other words, that's why it's an instrument. The Minister of Agriculture calls it a tool. Yeah, the red line, he calls it a tool. So he knows very well that it's a tool that his grandfathers used, is a tool that he's using now in the current, for purposes, whether the purposes are good or bad, but it's a tool. So you can therefore, just because some years later you use the tool to discriminate people on the basis of their marriage, then you discover that the red line only exists when we started using the marriage interpretation. So whatever the legislation, I still invite you to point me to a specific regulation or a specific section that says, for example, your client is Meat Board. It was established in terms of the Meat Industries Act of 1981.
Can I sit down while you have your speech?
So
my legs are not aching.
Where is the Koto Dali? Hand up that phone.
Continue, please.
okay.
Sorry, hand up that phone because since yesterday I'm getting this disturbance of this cell phone.
Okay. Maybe continue, Manu?
Yes.
Okay, so you will find, for example, in the Meat Industries Act that establishes the Meat Board, it says that the Meat Board is established, right? Even in the amendment that it was first the Meat Board of South West Africa, even in the amendment that created the Meat Board, it says it is established. Yeah. So you understand that when you say a thing is established or is erected in terms of a specific law, you would then find a language clear language that establishes something.
I see. Is that I'm so happy you explained to me. I didn't know that's what you meant. So you're looking for the Veterinary Cordon Fence Erection Act.
Is that, I don't know whether that's how you understand it, but that's not what I'm talking about. But we are talking about my pleading and your response to the pleading. The pleading that remains factually is that the veterinary cordon fence that has been applied on the red line, yeah, it becomes, that's what I explained historically, how did that happen?
Right.
It was never erected in terms of some map from Berlin that you want me to draw.
Are you just throw us in blue, please? The line where the bulldozers must go to if the court says break down the fence.
My answer to that is that it's not necessarily for us to be comical and see where the bulldozers
No,
must
I'm
go.
asking you, it's a serious
Yes.
question. You want a 1,500 kilometer line to be removed, broken down.
Yes.
And I want, if the court grants the order, I want it to be the correct fence.
I agree.
Not somebody else's wrong fence. So give us an indication where the fence is.
I agree with you. That's why I'm indicating, so that it's not comical. In
But
law,
it is quite comical.
in law, no, comical is what you're asking me to do. I understand I'm advised to that in law, there is something that is called inspection in loco. If the court is able to come to a determination that it need to see what is going to be determined, because the exercise now is for me to draw. And when I draw that, then the Lordship says, oh, okay, that's where I must order where the plaintiff drew. I'm not a cartographer.
Okay.
I don't recognize this colonial map of Berlin. I'm saying I'm available to assist the court so that all of us can go to the red line, and then I show the court where the red line is. We travel and see the red line itself, so that when the court eventually gives an order, the court is aware. Not because of some comical exercises where I drew blue lines on the map that is put from Berlin.
Well, I put to you, sir, that you refer to comical, but you want to help the court. You have to help the court now. Today is your day in court. And you want the fence to be broken down, but you can't help the court to indicate where it is.
That's not correct. It's not true that I cannot.
Indicate for us.
No, it's not true that I cannot indicate where the court is, where the fence is.
Is there a description, coordinate description of the red line?
Coordinate.
Yeah, you see, because when you describe the, for example, the boundaries of a town, it's described with reference to degrees, what degree. Is there something like that about the red line?
So, the person, the responsible. That's why we cited the Ministry of Agriculture. The Division of Veterinary Services is the one that.
The onus is on Minister
Yes, is the one that deals with this with this red line. It has even employees that are called chief watchmen of that red line, of that veterinary cordon fence.
Thank you,
So,
Mr.
I'm answering his lordship question.
Yeah, no, my question was very simple.
So,
do we have coordinates for the red line?
So that's why I'm saying, your lordship, if it's ever in doubt.
No. You see what? I'm asking a straight question.
There should be.
They are either or they are none.
Yeah, there should be, because
okay.
the animal.
You don't know.
No, I'm saying, can I?
No. You said, I'm asking, are they? You're saying they should be. You're asking me, you're expecting me to guess. And that's what I don't want to do. I don't want to guess. That's why I'm asking a question. Are there coordinates?
That's why I'm saying, your lordship, I, as a plaintiff, I know where the red line is. I understand the coordinates.
I don't ask whether you know where the red line is or where the red line is not. I'm asking, are there coordinates indicating where the red line is?
Yes, they should, because in terms,
we can proceed. Next.
Okay, thank you, my lord. So that red line, you say in your plea, in paragraph 6, you say that you don't refer to the red line. You say the court must order the breaking down of the veterinary cordon fence in paragraph 6.
Yes.
You accept that that cordon fence is the property of the government of the Republic of Namibia.
Yes.
Because you know a bit about the Constitution.
It's not a bit. I know the Constitution.
Okay, in Schedule 5, all property which would include the veterinary cordon fence where it is today, wherever it is, which belonged previously to that apartheid government or state, now belongs to the government of the Republic of Namibia. You agree with that?
Yes.
And so that property became the government of the Republic of Namibia, or the state of Namibia's property in terms of the Constitution.
Okay.
Now, in paragraph 2 of your prayer on page 15 of the document, the small bundle which I've handed to you, you want the court to declare the erection of the veterinary cordon fence red line unconstitutional. Do you agree that there is a difference between the old notional red line and where the physical cordon fence is today?
You're not clear. Can you say it again?
Do you agree that the old, the ideological red line or police zone, where it used to be in 1911 and wherever, is not at the same place where the physical fence is today?
No, I don't agree.
Okay.
You said I can explain.
So, in your mind, is it the same thing?
What is that?
The red line, the police zone, the red line, and the physical cordon fence, are those the same thing and on the same place?
I've already explained that the red line was erected in 1896. From November, it was finished in February.
Sorry
Then-
to interrupt you, because it will help me if I can interrupt you. That fence which was erected, can we go to that fence today? That actual pole and wire that was, according to you, erected in 18, whenever, does that wire and that pole, are they still physically there?
But you know, even your client that you are representing, that you spend a lot of money.
Amupanda, the question is, you say in 1896, Lindy Quest erected a red line.
Yes.
The question is very simple and straightforward. Does that line that Lindy Quest erected in 1896 still exist today?
Yes, the border, it's still exactly the same. Of course, there's been some improvement. They put electric fences. There was no electric fences in 1896. It can't be the understanding that I'm talking about, that it won't be exactly the same. But the veterinary cordon fence, as it was implemented by the South African government,
Yes.
is on that red line. Of course, things changed. You would see, for example, after 1921, for instance, they were talking about that they must build 2 fences. That's what I'm trying to explain. There is a conceptual when we are talking about it, and then there's actual reality. That's why it's good that you are also agreeing to inspection in loco, so that we can actually see what we are talking about.
I'm not agreeing to anything. My question to you is, in paragraph 2 of your prayer, you say this court must declare the erection of the veterinary cordon fence, and then you put in brackets red line unconstitutional. This court cannot declare the erection of something unconstitutional if we don't know what you're talking about. So let me ask you on prayer 2, the erection of that fence in paragraph 2, when was that fence which you want to declare unconstitutional, when exactly was it erected?
Okay. So I've already explained historically how it came. You know also very well that the Animal Protection Act and those specific regulations that speaks about the establishment of a veterinary cordon fence for whatever purposes it may be, it adopted the red line, and it For instance, in the 1960s.
So that's now South African time.
Yes, that's why I indicated that different purposes were put on the red line. So, for example, when, for the purposes of this veterinary cordon fence, to be able to say which animal can move and which animals cannot move. For example, in the 1960s, the veterinarian and all those people who are interested in particular animals and not animals of others went there to the red line and put up a fence, improve the fence at the same spot. It's almost like you would think that is the house that belonged, old Katutura houses that belonged to your grandmother, and you come and put up a double story. It's still the same house.
Oh, I see. So it's an ideological thing you're talking about.
It's not an ideological. People, when you go to the red line there's only one place in Namibia where if you come from a particular geographical area, you must get out of your vehicle. They search your vehicle without a search warrant, and you must step on a mat.
Yes,
Only from that place.
yes.
So that is not only ideological.
No, I'm talking about the actual fence, not the mat.
The veterinary cordon fence exists.
I know it exists.
Yes.
I want you to tell us which one must be broken down.
The one that exists, we can go there and check, and
No,
I'll
but
show you.
Where's the one that Lloyd Van erected?
Where is it?
1881.
Not 1981, it's 1896.
1896, sorry.
Yes.
Where's that line?
So, where the veterinary cordon fence exists, I gave you an analogy so that it can help you. The old Katutura house that belonged to your grandmother, you came and put up a double story. You are now asking me, where is that old Katutura house? And I'm saying to you, at the place where that old Katutura house existed, if you lived in Katutura, Raymond Heathcote had put up a double story. So I'm saying the same discrimination patterns,
Oh, I see. So it's
the same discriminatory patterns of 1896. Because remember, the purposes of establishing that cordon in 1896 was to protect European herd. The European did not leave. They still kept the farms. They are still keeping the farms now. The continuity of the benefits at the expense of other people, it remains the same. Of course, I can't argue in answering your question. I can't argue and say, no, the old Katutura houses still exist. Obviously not. There's an electric fence now. That's why we are talking about the veterinary cordon fence. It exists for those 1,250 kilometers. So it's still there. We can still go there. I still insist. Let's go and check the fence. We can touch it. And if your clients who runs it can put off electricity so that it doesn't choke us, we can touch it and we can see it and we can follow it. So that when we ask for its removal,
Yes.
then we know what we are talking about.
If we go there, will you be able, sir, to identify a German piece of fence which was erected in 1896?
Those fence, your clients pays millions of dollars every year to replace that fence. You know very well that you're asking me that question, that
Thank you, sir.
you and your client have replaced the poles of the Germans. You know they don't exist. You are asking me something that you already know, because that's what you do all the time.
That's the art of cross-examination. You only ask questions which you know the answer of.
Hmm? Oh, well, I'm here to assist the court. I'm not here to...
So we've now established that, according to your evidence, the physical German wires are not there anymore.
I'm not at court talking about wires. I'm here talking about the red line. Okay. The wires you have replaced to keep the privileged ones to benefit and enjoy, as you are talking about in your papers.
Okay, so let me then just finish the map behind you, so I can help you. But you see the orange line there?
Yes.
So we've got the green one, that's 1911. The orange one is where the Proclamation of September 1961, those racist South Africans, so that's red, not orange, red, those racist South Africans in September 1961, they made a proclamation and indicated the red line there. You see that? You see the red line there?
Well, I've already indicated that I don't accept this Berlin map as some authoritative thing.
And
There have been several maps that came from Germany. We have submitted to this court the history of the red line.
And do you
So
see
I,
that?
unfortunately, is that I have an answer, for example, to tell you where the name red line come from. But you are talking about history, but whenever I try to explain about history, then I would to be said is a speech. We are here for too long. I have an answer. I know exactly what has happened,
Yes.
where that name came from.
Yes,
The
we
group
know.
of farmers, such as Karl Schledwein, and when they met Gutal and they agreed that as a concession, we are going to keep the natives animals out so that South Africa can import Namibians, white farmers can export their cattle to South Africa. I know that history very well. So I can explain, but what you are talking about, what has happened in 1961, it will be a selective reading of history.
Yes.
With some Berlin maps that I don't recognize it as an authority. I again offer,
No, you don't have
let's go and do inspection in locus, and I can show you, and I'm sure you probably have been there. I can show you, we can walk all the way, and then we have clarity.
Let me help you. It's not necessary for us to go. At the map there, behind you, the yellow, the orange one. The orange one is as bold, the one that is there today, the orange one. Do you see that?
Yes, but I don't accept that as the truth. We can go and check.
So you don't even want me to help you?
No, I'm saying that's your version. That's your version of your client that you are putting to me. I'm saying there have been many maps.
Okay.
There is no basis. You don't provide a basis to say that this is the map that was officially adopted and as the only map. You are simply saying to me now, for me to accept in this court, that apparently some map of 1911, the green or the yellow or the blue, whatever it is that you're talking about, is a representation of what exists now.
No, I'm telling you that the yellow one there has been, the orange one, sorry, has been physically measured by our land surveyor, Mr. Strydom. He physically measured it and he's put it on the map. That's the yellow portion. Sorry, the orange portion. I'm colorblind, I'm sorry.
Are there three colors there?
Yes.
I'm only seeing two.
It's very difficult to see the orange part.
Okay.
It's very close to the red one.
All right.
So I don't know what your client did. The red line exists. The veterinary cordon fence exists. We can go and check. We don't have to rely on your client, who for all we know, might be a commercial farmer who's having an interest. Let's go. No one will be prejudiced. All of us will see.
You've invited us, thank you.
Yes, let's go.
Paragraph 2 then of your prayer says, you want the court to declare the erection of the veterinary cordon fence. But can you please identify when exactly was the fence which you want to be declared unconstitutional? Exactly which fence are you talking about?
Yes. My lord, to be of assistance to the court and my learned colleague, can refer my colleague to paragraph 17 of the particulars of claim. It is stated there.
Thank you very much, my lord. I won't accept that. I want you to tell me, as far as paragraph 2 is concerned, you see, you talk about the erection of
Just
the
hold on.
veterinary cordon fence.
Just hold on, my lord. I just want to go to the particulars of claim because
Mr. Amupanda, I'm asking the questions. Your client, your counsel did his best to guide you. I'm asking the question. Look at prayer 2. I'm asking you about that. I'm saying to you, in prayer 2, you say the court must declare the act of erecting.
yes.
The act of erecting a fence, which you say is the veterinary fence and the red fence. The act of erecting unconstitutional.
Yes.
Which moment are you referring to? What time of erection?
Whether you erected it in the morning or in the afternoon, it will still be the same. Well,
I see. That's
yes.
very interesting.
No, what I'm trying to actually explain, so we would eventually find and discover factually when it was erected. So what we are talking about, that act, whether you did it in the morning or in the evening, is what we seek to be declared unconstitutional. Because it cannot be in a constitutional dispensation. You go ahead as a government with a responsibility of serving all Namibians in a unitary state, and you set up a fence for the benefit of the few to the disadvantage of the majority.
Okay.
It wouldn't be in a constitutional dispensation. Whether you are having a relationship with Chinese or whatsoever, we know factually and statistically that the population of the people of Namibia, more than 60% of the population of Namibia reside outside the veterinary cordon fence. We know, for example, in terms of the annual report of your clients, 2020, 2021, we had southern part of the red line, we had only 900,000 cattle. 1.5 million cattle were in the northern part of the red line. We knew, for instance, that there were only 16,000 pigs, but there were 68,000 pigs, according to your own client. We know for sure in terms of the animals that are available. So I'm trying to explain to you that the unconstitutionality that we're talking about is the decision of the regime that ought to represent everybody in a unitary state to take a decision to erect a fence that would discriminate a majority of Namibians, to continue with the practice of discrimination and apartheid that are outlawed by the Namibian constitution. That obviously cannot be constitutional. That decision, that very decision to erect it.
I'm not at the decision now, sir. I'm at the erecting, the erection of the fence, the act of erecting. I want to know what are we dealing with? Which date are you referring to? The court must declare the act of erecting unconstitutional. The court must know to which period, which time are you referring to?
An order declaring that the erection of the veterinary cordon fence is unconstitutional.
Yes.
I'm trying to be of assistance to you so that you can understand our prayers, my prayers, because they are mine.
But you're not of assistance. I'm asking you which period, which time. It's the act of erection. It's building a fence. You want that act of erecting to be declared unconstitutional. To which year do you refer to it?
You find, that's what I'm trying to explain to you. I don't have it at the back of my head, on my feet now. You know very well, in terms of the rules, you know very well that I will not be able to Google or say go in and act. That's why I'm trying to be of assistance to understand that I'm under cross-examination and you are aware.
Okay,
For me to be able to be factually tell you it was at 12 o'clock on the 21st of March, 90, whatever it is the case may be. But to be of assistance,
Give me a year.
to be of assistance, yeah, those legal instruments that you are talking about, it could be the animal, there is legal instrument that obviously sanctions that.
Because
It
I
doesn't-
thought your case was that nothing sanctions.
The erection,
Your
the
case is
prayer,
comical, sir.
no. The order declaring, I'm not going to be intimidated. The prayer says, an order declaring the erection of the veterinary cordon fence has not been carried out in terms of any law. We have already canvassed that.
Yes, we did.
that Red Vein, when they went up to erect it, they didn't do it in terms of any law. We have dealt with that. You are now engaging
Are you
me.
saying Ledwin or Lindequist?
Ledwin was a governor, Lindequist was a deputy governor. So
Yes.
we have dealt with that.
Yes.
You are now asking me.
Let me just get clear. Did Lindequist and Ledwin erect a veterinary cordon fence?
They erected a red line.
Oh.
No, I'm asking, did they erect a veterinary cordon fence?
No, they erected a cordon. That cordon is what was inherited at the very same building. Remember, Lord Shah was using an analogy of an old Katutura house where a double story is now built.
Yes, yes, you've used that
Yes.
example. Please
So-
don't do it again.
No, I will do it again. An old Katutura
No,
house.
I object, my lord. We are not your students. We understand.
All right, you have answered my question.
Okay, thank you, Lord.
Now,
So-
so the question now is, you cannot refer us. You want the court to declare in paragraph 3, in paragraph 2, the act of erecting unconstitutional. I'll give you leeway. Which year are you referring to?
I'm responding to you, Mr. Heathcote, Advocate Heathcote.
My lord, if I may just, my learned colleague keep referring to the act of electing, but the prayer does not say the act of erecting. Just so that it's factually correct.
Well, who else? The thing certainly didn't come it there by itself. Somebody must have built it.
Well, Mr. Heathcote, I'm not responsible for your interpretation. I can only assist the court. The prayer says, an order declaring that the erection of a veterinary cordon fence. I can't lie to court. I am not in position here. I wish I could. If I were gotten an opportunity, I would also be able to determine to you. That is why we have clearly cited the minister and the ministry that deals with these specific things.
Thank you, Mr.
So that's why I'm saying to be of assistance. So that an order declaring the erection, whether you erected in the middle of the night or in the afternoon, whenever it is that you did that I'm unable to assist you because I don't have an opportunity
Yes,
to
thank you.
consult.
You can't
So
assist
whatever
that,
the
that's fine.
whatever the time or the year, that is what we seek to be declared unconstitutional
Okay.
in a constitutional democracy where you erect a fence for the benefit of the few at the expense of the majority of our people.
Okay, so you can't assist us. Move to prayer 3 then. Now look at what you're asking. You say an order reviewing and setting aside the decision of the first and second respondent to retain the veterinary cordon fence. Can you tell us when the decision to retain, let's give you a year first. When was the decision made to retain the cordonary fence?
The beautiful thing, Mr. Heathcote, with this case is that I also get to learn law. Apparently,
Can we go straight? When was
it is
the
admitted,
decision taken? There must be a timeline to a decision.
yes, it is admitted that the red line is being retained.
Yes,
Factually, he is not in dispute.
yes,
It is there in the pre-trial order.
yes.
As to when did the decision to retain it, it could be a two-level. Okay? Article 140.
Sub 3 retains it.
How do you know that's what I'm going to say?
Yes.
Allow me to speak.
Just say it.
I want to be
know what you
very
want to
cooperative.
say. You want
Okay,
to-
let the witness.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
140 sub 3 says,
Okay, Ms. Amupanda, I've granted you leave to proceed. Proceed.
So, in our constitution, the scheme of our constitution is like that. The constitution recognizes the crime of apartheid and colonialism and what our people
Exactly.
have gone through. Okay? As far as laws and these instruments are concerned, 140 of the Namibian constitution speaks about that inheritance, that decision that were taken, it becomes the decisions of the government and the decisions of a minister, of whoever, administrator general, the corresponding, whoever it is that is administering that law would be. So obviously, I'm not in position here. I wish I was in position to tell you exactly the exact date. Yeah? But the decision to retain exists. Unfortunately, I can't tell you the specific year. It is admitted even by yourself
yes, it's
that
admitted.
the veterinary cordon fence is being retained.
Yes.
Yes, by this government. You have accepted that. So if you have accepted that it's been retained, it means somebody have taken the decision to retain it. It is that decision. It is that decision to retain the veterinary cordon fence that we seek to review and set aside.
Cool. But you know, the court can only set aside decisions of people, politicians or the like, if you can identify the person who took the decision, what the circumstances are under which it was taken, and who the person is. But you can't help us with that.
But it is very clear that we have cited those parties. In our papers, we have even described those specific individuals.
True.
Yeah? When it comes to the red line, we even go a step further and identify who exactly did what and when.
Yes.
So the person, even in terms of papers, the court is aware exactly who are the persons. In fact, among, at least you had the privilege of having your witnesses, among some of those witnesses that are called by the respondent include those specific individuals. Some of them are watchmen of the red line employed by government. So it's such a position that is called chief watchman of the red line, of the veterinary cordon fence.
Yes.
So we are aware in terms of who are those specific people.
You don't know. I'm asking.
So the decision to retain the veterinary cordon fence is what we seek to be reviewed and set aside as appearing in prayer 3. There is nothing wrong. It's perfectly correct.
I know what you asked for. I'm gauging about the veracity of your claim. Let me help you. You say you know the Constitution. Article 140 sub 3 says anything done by anyone prior to independence is deemed to have been done by Namibians.
That's why.
Which includes the erection of the fence.
That's why I gave you two contexts. I'm the one who came to court to tell you about 140.
Yes.
But before the 140, I explained to you that the same constitution speaks about that the people of Namibia can no longer be subjected to colonialism and apartheid.
True.
And I'm putting it to you, the practice of retaining and sustaining a colonial instrument that oppresses our people for the benefit of the few cannot be found by any competent court of law to be valid. That's why we are coming to court and not forcing the court. We are persuading the court that this is what has happened. Apply your mind in a constitutional dispensation. Yes, people may not have challenged it. People may be scared because they don't have money. People may be scared that you are coming up against the regime that is all-powerful and all that.
Yes.
But we are coming to court, not because we don't have any other things to do. But we accept that in a constitutional democracy, the courts are there to resolve dispute.
True.
The courts are there to deal with. We can't find any court, to my mind, that will accept an unconstitutional practice. It may have been inherited in terms of 140, but it doesn't mean there are many actions that have been inherited, and these courts has reviewed and set aside those decisions. So there's nothing peculiar as far as 3 is concerned.
Well, no, I know of no court which set aside 143 deeming provision. Let me complete the constitutional picture for you. Perhaps you will then withdraw your case. Section Article 145 of the Constitution.
Can I see?
145.
Can I see the
If you
Constitution?
want to.
I don't trust you. I read it. Can I have a?
Do you trust the Constitution?
Yes.
Cool. Then we can continue.
Thank you.
145 sub 2. So we have this.
Just hold on.
145 sub 2. We have this.
Hold on.
You can find it. I'm
140. I need to listen to you and assist the court. 140.
5 sub 2.
145 2. Yes.
So we have under 140 this takeover from the racist Germans, the racist whites, those terrible Germans and the terrible whites. The Constitution speaks loudly and clearly in its preamble. We repudiate that. Okay, you with me on that?
Absolutely.
But we want to take over the infrastructure. So everything done, we say we will keep. But 145 2 tells us what our founding fathers said. They said, nothing contained in this Constitution shall be construed as recognizing in any way the validity, and if I may use it in the context of this case, the erection of racist and German fences. That's what 145 2 says. That's what the politics says. This was what our Constitution says. And you want this court to repeat it.
That's not my understanding. And that's where your client, any competent court, you your client and the regime stand to lose this case because you assume it's just about meat. You don't talk about the dignity of
I
the
haven't
people.
used
Can
the
I
word
finish?
meat all day.
Can I finish? That's where the problem is. You simply suggest then, by referring us to 145.2, that no, there is nothing wrong because 145.2 has already said that. The only place in our country where you come from a particular area, immediately when you get married there, automatically, as a native, your marriage is already out. It uses the word red line. The only place where you must get out of your vehicle with your children, get humiliated, step on some dirty mat, and do whatever it is that happens there, and then you go back in the car, and then you go, nothing ever. So the idea to project that there is nothing wrong, it is not recognized, you are completely wrong with respect. That's not what our case is about.
Okay,
The
so
suffering continues again, and where can we go? We can only come to the court of law to be able to ensure that the symbol, what Schledwein, the minister, not the grandfather, what Schledwein says that the symbol, the most comprehensive historic record of one of the pivotal tools of division in Namibia. So this symbol of division, these tools of division in our country that still continue, and the minister acknowledges, I can only come to court unless you are suggesting that as an activist I must mobilize people to go and remove it physically. I know where it is. No, we are coming to court so that we can ventilate these issues at court, so that the court can apply its mind, because it exists. So I disagree with you that the Constitution somehow, the invitation to the court that no, don't consider this because 145.2 already say that. No, that's not my understanding.
Okay, you are repeating yourself. Can we move on to paragraph 5 of your particulars of claim, what you asked this court? Just look at what you say. An order directing and restraining the first defendant and or its officials, prayer 5, paragraph, page 15. An order directing and restraining the first defendants, well, there's only one first defendant, and or its officials from confiscating the red meat of the plaintiff or any other Namibian meant for private and own consumption. You see what you're asking for? It's not limited to a place. It's anywhere in Namibia. You are stopping the government to confiscate in Windhoek frot meat.
Well, we can all be mischievous if we want. There is evidence that has been produced in this court, bearing a government coat of arms, indicating that my meat has been confiscated. In my witness statement, if you have regard to that, so I have to take you to my witness statement. In my witness statement, I'm saying, after what has happened, so this is what I said in my witness statement. I asked Mr. Nambinga if he could give the meat to people who were on the other side of the red line when they confiscated my meat, who were in sight only a few meters away. He responded that they are not allowed to do so by the government. This incident and cruelty disappointed and infuriated me, both as a black person, knowing our history of brutality and discrimination, and as a father whose purpose of carrying the meat was to feed my family. If it was a matter of a misbehaving child in my family, I would have left this matter at that level, in private. But since it is action by a supposed democratic government against its own people, it was very clear at that moment, already on the 17th of May 2023, that this matter is of serious public interest. It goes beyond what happened to me. While this was occurring, and after getting the paper stated, I took a photo of the paper.
Yes, you've read your witness statement.
But that's the point I'm trying to make.
Yes, I'm asking you about prayer 5. It stops the machinery of government altogether.
But that's what I was trying to explain. That's why I came here, because to answer your question.
Okay, so
Can I?
So I'm going on to paragraph 6 because you're incapable of answering.
No, that's not correct. That's
Look
not
at
correct.
paragraph 6. An order directing
So I
and
must-
compelling the first and second defendants to immediately and within a period of 90 days remove. Well, we've covered that. You don't know which fence.
No.
Now, those are the prayers you
Okay.
seek. And I put it to you that your political campaign has come to an end, sir. Your case is comical. I
Well-
put to you that.
Well, that's not how I understand it. I'm still standing here to fight for the removal of the 1896 red line. It will be removed. Whether you think the case is as you are describing it, if you think this is a political campaign, whether I'm going to succeed or my children or anybody else, it's not going to stop. So the idea that you think this is going to stop because you don't allow me to answer your question, or you think that we don't have a case, you think this is political. We filed this case in 2021. There was nothing political about that. So this case is very clear. There is nothing that is over. It's a case that seeks to ventilate rights, to ensure that 125 years of a system and a regime that protects white people at the expense of the majority of the population is a continuity of colonialism, and we're not going to allow that. But I don't agree with you, with respect. We are going to prosecute this case, if that's the correct term. We are going to advance this case, and we are confident in terms of our arguments. You are very wrong. And it's such a pity that you think this is politics, and you think it's a political campaign.
No,
when people were killed even at that red line.
Yes, of
People
course.
were killed. You have accepted in the pre-trial here
Yes,
that
it's
it was a
terrible.
brutal past. People were killed there. We have people in our family, every time when they come at the red line, they are traumatized because of what has happened to them.
Yes.
So to think this is politics or a political campaign is such a historical pity.
It is
It's such an unfortunate for a Namibian who's supposed to assist.
Can I direct that you see, cross-examination, I don't want to exchange
Yes, ma'am.
debates. I want questions and answers. That will
So-
help me.
You've made your point, and your ideology is quite clear, Mr. Amupanda, and I'm not debating that with you. I'm talking about the presentation of your case and the relief you're seeking. I say that is comical, not your ideology. That may be wonderful and a political goal you may achieve one day. I'm talking about the prayers you're seeking. That's comical.
Well, this court has already established that this matter is a matter of public interest. You refer to a case that the courts have already found. Of course, you were opposing that, but the court came to a determination that this matter is beyond me. It is in writing. There's a judgment to that effect, that it has nothing to do with what you think as a defendant that Amupanda as a person is going to gain. So that story doesn't even fly because it's nothing to do with that. We have a solid case. It was well presented as far as we're concerned. Very difficult, of course. You have a privilege of having all your witnesses. We can't. We can't present some of our documents because of those technicalities. I can't do that. I can only abide by that. But I disagree with you that the case is not well presented. It is well presented. We are still determined. We are still committed that we will take this case to its logical conclusion, and the court will vindicate our rights. We don't believe that this court will come to a conclusion that colonialism that have penetrated must continue, that 60% of Namibians must continue to be humiliated, that people must continue to be humiliated to step into meds and step on meds and things like that. So I disagree with you. We have a solid case.
Have you been out of Namibia?
Yes,
to
I've been.
other countries?
Yes,
Have you been around in SADC?
yes,
Have you been to Botswana?
yes,
Did you step on a mat there?
No.
At the border post? Have you been out to Zimbabwe?
yes,
Did you not step on a mat?
no.
Wow, you're lucky. You must be the only one that I know.
Well,
If you go to any country in the world, do you just take your red meat in and wave at immigration?
well, I was never attempted to take any meat. Oh, so that's why at least this impression that there are two countries. I never took meat to another country, but of course, ideologically, it is understood that the police zone in the southern part of the red line serves some sort of borders. There are two countries. northern part of the red line. We don't agree with that. We are a unitary state.
Yes,
I never attempted to take any meat to another country. So, but I indeed bought my meat for my family that we live in Windhoek, and we were stopped by a instrument that the Minister of Agriculture says is a tool of division
Yes.
in
But
Namibia.
it's not the red line that stops you, sir, or the fence itself. It's those people at the fence enforcing the Namibian laws that stop you.
That is why you know very well that those prayers are so carefully considered. Even where you are talking about, you know, even your invitation with regards to who are doing that. Prayer 5, for that purposes, it says order, directing and restraining the first defendant and any of its officials. Yes, they are doing that. That's why prayer 5 is asking this court to stop them from doing that. I'm taking a meat from my house. I was eating the same meat in the morning. I want to continue eating the same meat in the afternoon, but you're stopping me. So this government says to me, it is okay, that meat is dirty, is contaminated. It's okay for you to continue eating that contaminated meat for as long as you don't eat it here where the settler lives. For as long as you don't come with your meat, even if it's for your own consumption. That's why we go a step further, indicating that if for some other argument, you have this argument to make about animal health, disease control, and things like that. Yeah? So if the court is not with us on some of those prayers, we are asking the court, if for some reason white privilege and capitalist interest is going to be kept, can you not, in a constitutional democracy, in a unitary state, can you not, even in terms of prayer 5, allow people to pass with their meat for their personal consumption?
Well, why didn't you ask for that in your prayer?
It is there.
Oh, I see.
It doesn't have to be written in a way how you want it.
Now, I put to you that, you know, and you say, so let me ask you this. Is there, you know what the difference between a fact and speech argument is?
Well, I know the difference because you are just doing the same, some speeches and facts.
Yes.
You are
So you know
example.
the difference.
Yes.
Is there any fact in any witness statement, not views, missions, visions, or anything, any fact in any witness statement of any of the defendants with what you agree?
What I agree with.
Yes.
Well, not facts,
Okay.
but what I agree with, and you see in terms of those documentations, what I agree with is, for instance, it should be your client in the discovery burden and things like that. They file Mr. Bonzaya's client. The cabinet resolution, for instance, directed the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of International Relations to inform the Angolan government about the erection of a fence along the Namibia-Angola border. It's contained in those discovery
So
documents.
what about that?
Can I'm explaining to you what I agree with. So it is contained, then I read about, okay. So there is a recognition there that this tool of division of our people cannot stand, cannot be sustained. Therefore, somebody wants to move it, and the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of International Relations, whom we have summoned, because we knew that she was given this specific instruction. We wanted to understand how far are we. So on that aspect, we agree. We agree that there is a recognition by the regime. That's why the regime will instruct its Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of International Relations to go and engage. This is a cabinet decision that is before court. So that aspect is encouraging, because it's a recognition that the 125 years tool, that what Minister Schledwein calls the tool of division, cannot continue. That aspect we agree.
Yes, I think, you would have seen in the witness statement of many of the defendants that government actually intends in the long run to remove the fence.
That is what exactly the problem is. You would also see in the document that you objected to it being admitted here. The research was carried out between 2012 and 2013. The government, as we speak, again, commissioned another study.
Yes.
So the regime keep moving from postponing and postponing and postponing and postponing. These nice were during election, it will say this, then they pay millions for this. Another study must be conducted again. Those are facts, right? So we are saying, because you can't postpone the enjoyment of rights to say, no, the discrimination must continue, the humiliation must continue, so that for some distant day, then you can enjoy your rights. So we are coming to court and say, because we know the court doesn't play games. It's either the court is with us or it's not with us. The politician that you think that we must listen to can keep shifting the goalpost. We are coming to court to vindicate those rights, not for people. Why? Because people are enjoying those rights today. I'm not sure whether you're a farmer. I'm sure you might enjoy this right. But the point is, we agree with that principle.
Yes, for that matter, I'm a farmer above the red line.
Oh, okay.
Is
that a fact?
Look at the red line there.
Is that a fact?
The question that I'm asking you is, government is on record that it wants in the long run to remove the fences, but
Yes.
it wants to do so scientifically.
Yes.
Do you agree with that?
That is why scientifically government commissioned a study. And that study, and government took a decision, cabinet took a decision, it's in the papers. And they called consultants and they paid millions. What are the consultants to do? What is the implication of the total removal of the veterinary cordon fence? The conclusion there is that if you remove this line, our country's GDP, agriculture's contribution to GDP will increase from 5.1% to GDP to 20%. So the continuity of this colonial instrument is denying us an opportunity, according to government, is denying us an opportunity of having an increased contribution to GDP and many other examples. It speaks about employment, it speaks about how many cattle can be sold and things like that. So government already, in terms of objective facts, government have already considered that it is in the advantage of the people of Namibia to remove that. As I said, we agree, we observe that, but we don't trust them because they keep moving from one goalpost to another.
So you want
legally, that's why we are coming to the court. The court is not in the business of saying, continue suffering now, while the politicians are going to find another time. What happens if there is a new government with a different agenda altogether? The issue of rights of the people of Namibia cannot in any way be postponed because of the actions of politicians. That's why we are here at court. If we thought that the court is not relevant, we would have explored other remedies. So we are safe with court, because the court is either with us, we don't see the court as postponing to some other future date. But the reasonableness on our part, to answer on maybe that's where you are driving, the reasonableness on our part is found in terms of prayer 6, right? To say, yes, reasonableness on our part. Reasonableness in a sense of to recognize the complexities.
Oh, it is complex, right?
No, allow me to speak, not for the purpose of your case. The reasonableness in terms of that prayer is to say, okay, maybe they need to buy enough trucks, they need to do what, they need to be able to see, to take off the plug and cut and all. So let's be reasonable, give them 90 days to remove this in terms of the implementation of that. So these prayers are carefully considered.
Carefully considered.
These prayers are carefully considered. These prayers are carefully tested. And our case remains solid.
I'm going to ask the court for us to adjourn now. Let me put this for you to ponder and you can answer this. If this court orders that fence to be broken down in 90 days and there's free flow of animals, nobody may stop, everyone can just come south, go north. You know what the percentage of meat exports will be? I put to you 0. 0, sir. Do you accept that?
No, those are speculation to save the white interest and those that are owning and controlling the economy. I already said that your client said in the annual report, 2020-2021 report, there were 900,000 cattle south of the red line, 1.5 million cattle. The rinderpest disease, when it came, those northern farmers, all the way from Kaoko to Caprivi, they were left on their own. They were left on their own, no instrument to protect their cattle, but they are resilient. They still continue. They are still able, in terms of your client's finding, they are still able to have 1.5 million cattle without disease control, without protection from the regime, they are still able to have 1.5 million cattle while certain part of the red line, with all this control, with all these privileges, with all this regime that is protecting them. 900,000.
No,
16,000 pigs, 68,000 pigs.
I'm not talking about numbers, I'm talking what the Europeans say, and you've read that. If the line is broken away, they will not buy our meat, not if one cattle from the north and not one cattle from the south. That
This
is
is-
the case of government.
There
That
is-
is government's concern, don't you understand that?
There is no evidence to that effect, number one. Number two, these speculative opinions, I see Ristorius and other people who are saying what they are speculating is going to happen, is countered, number one, by a government, because you can say that on affidavit, but at the same time you have a report. Fortunately, it was not admitted on our part, it has been discovered by the defendant, so the document is still before court. That report, scientific report,
It's not a
consulted
scientific
everyone.
report. It's a report
Sci-
done by
can I
Dirk
finish?
Conradi.
Can I finish? It's not done by Dirk Conradi. Conradi was a lead. That's why we wanted him to be here to testify by himself. He was a lead consultant. It was a consortium. You understand the meaning of the word consortium. It's not one person. So that government report,
Wow.
is adopted by government, says that our country is going to benefit. You and your client are denying our country from benefiting from, according to government version, from benefiting from 20% of a country's GDP. Look, we didn't have, for instance, factually, we didn't have the market in Ghana, we didn't have market in the Democratic Republic of Congo. So people change all the time. A new leader comes. So what if those Europeans just decide, not because of your red line, we are going to Argentina. So are we going to run a country, are we going to trample on rights of people because European, as you have said, it's good that it's on record, because Europeans are saying they are not going to buy the meat.
Yes, so
What
you
if the
at least
Ghanaians are
accept-
going to buy our meat?
Sorry, this is very important. So you accept that the Europeans threaten that they will not buy our meat if the red line comes down.
Meatco have succeeded in finding new markets.
And went bankrupt.
Well, that's your view, and with Savannah beef. So Meatco have already indicated that new markets have been found. So if it was only the case that those Europeans, it was the same when Sydney Martin's abattoir closed with the Norwegian quota. We don't think people died for this country for us to be held at ransom by Europeans and what they think. We don't believe that if we remove the red line, because factually, on facts, the document indicates that our country will benefit in employment, in GDP, in national cohesion. We are a unitary state. We cannot maintain a colonial tool.
That is a perfect political
We cannot-
speech, sir. I'm going to vote for you. You're
No.
such a good politician. But you're not going to win this case. Can we continue tomorrow, Malu?
You are not the judge. We will win this case.
I know a bit about the law.
Can I call order? I will allow cross-examination. I don't allow exchanges, political exchanges in my courtroom. Tate Amupanda, you kept on using the term regime. What does regime mean?
It's regime is an English word that speaks to the machinery and mechanism. You see, for example, when the minister delivers a budget speech.
You see what? Let me do this. My jacket, what color is it?
Black.
Black.
Yes.
And my beep?
White.
Yes. That's straightforward questions that I'm asking. I
Yes.
want straightforward answers. What is the meaning of the term regime?
The regime is a government of the day.
My understanding of the Oxford English Dictionary is regime is an authoritarian government. Is my understanding correct?
So, well, no, I did hear that. They were.
I said the dictionary. I didn't say I heard it.
Yeah.
I said the English Oxford Dictionary defines regime as an authoritarian government.
Not necessarily. That's not my understanding of it.
Okay.
The word regime refers to the government. Yeah? As a political scientist, that's how I understand. The regime refers to a government. That's why you even say a person saying the budget regime. If it was a dictatorial, it basically means then that the budget regime that is being followed, it will be authoritarian.
What do you, is there a budget government? What is it that you are referring to?
No, the budget, I'm saying a minister of finance, when they are tabling a budget in parliament, they will talk about the budget regime.
Wow.
If
did
we-
you hear that word?
Oh, okay, I can produce it.
All right.
So-
No, I asked the question and you are saying regime.
It's not.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted clarity on what the term regime means, that's all. All right, shall we proceed tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock?
Thank you, my lord. I'm almost done, I must say so.
Tatampala, if you can just sit down. No, not you. Again, I will repeat my admonition. You are still under cross-examination. You can speak to Tate Amupanda, Tate Tinda. You can speak to Mayor Amupanda. You can speak to, what is your professors, your colleagues, to them about anything. But you are not allowed. You are not allowed to speak to anybody, including your legal practitioners, your other half, your children, your followers, on the current matter that is in court. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. We then again until tomorrow morning.
It's
10
10,
o'clock.
my lord.
At 10 o'clock.